Boom. All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's live training. We're super excited. So we're kind of wrapping up the money month, so family finances, and kind of introducing and starting next month's 28-day challenge. And we are excited.
Yes.
But you know what? I gotta say, Travis, Alicia, great to see you guys. Looking good. I just want you to know how much we love you, because I go to bed at like 9:30, right? So I love you guys. I'm staying up late, right? I was upstairs like winding down, sitting there on my chair reading a book, like, oh yeah, it's nighttime. Like, oh, I love these guys. So I'm staying up to hit it. Hi, Mindy. I love all you people. We seriously, I know we keep promising, but we are going to fulfill this promise of getting together in person. We're going to do an event. You will never be the same afterwards. It's going to be that good. But we might have to do one on the West Coast and one on the kind of out east and southeast, right?
Yeah, if the world ever opens up again.
If the world ever opens. I know, you know, some people are starting to do events already, and I'm ready to pull the trigger. So it's coming, man. It's coming. All right. So I have to ask first. I got to do some follow-up. This is the coach in me. Have you done, not have you done, sorry. What have you done? This is a question that requires a response. What have you done following through the Family Finance 28-day challenge? Everybody throw it in the chat box or raise your hand, just share comments. What actions have you taken? Like, no judgment here. We're just, what have you done? Like, I just want to make sure you did something. Because if you watched all those videos all month and you haven't done anything, oh man, we're going to have a gathering at your house and say, what is going on? Like, what's happening here? So what'd you do? Anybody take action? Anybody open new accounts? Oh, Miriam, go.
I actually figured out how much our yearly expenses would be, like mortgage and everything. And I was really shocked at how little it actually is. I'm like, so then opened up a dialogue with my husband. I'm like, we need to start investing. And he's Mr. Careful with his money. He's good financially, but very scared to take risks. I'm like, I think we need to start pushing this a little and trying to take some risks. And so starting to have that conversation and hopefully bring him on board. So
fantastic.
Yes, love it, Miriam.
Yay.
We did the numbers too, and I know some of you other did the numbers, so Lee's got the numbers. I was surprised. Like you, Miriam, like, hey, wait a minute. Like,
you can do a lot of stuff.
You can do a lot of stuff on a certain number, right? That's what blew me away. And if you guys went through the book, Money Master the Game, he walks through this guy's like, I want $1 billion. He's like, all right, buddy, chillax a little. And he walks through like these huge luxuries, and he's like, yeah, that would only cost you X thousand a month. And when you look at it like that, you're like, this is doable. We can make this happen, right? We can totally make it happen. Love it. Okay. So been watching, listening to the videos, automated the accounts. Yes. So I don't know, you guys probably have not been able to watch the video that I posted today. I walked through all about bank accounts.
Because that's going out on Saturday.
Oh yeah. So it's a sneak peek, but it's all about getting your accounts automated. Because once that rolls, man, it is so smooth, so easy. You don't have to keep making decisions. It just happens automatically.
It's not the one on the buckets. It's a different one, but I think I did send out the bucket one. So
okay, let's see. Read 3 finance books. Yeah, Ryan. Me too, man. In fact, Yael, are you still here? I read your recommendation and I love it.
The Barefoot Investor.
The Barefoot Investor. It's an Aussie investor. Awesome book. It's fair warning, it has the Australian bluntness. They have a different tone. I liked it. He's cracking jokes all the time though. Okay. 6 months emergency fund.
Fantastic.
Yes. Family finance plan. Rolled over the old 401k. Boom. And opened a brokerage account. Nice. So we looked into Vanguard and Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade. All 3 of those are great, you guys. And eventually you'll probably want a brokerage account where you can do some investing, and you'll want a retirement account. We've talked about this. The old 401ks, man, if you can roll them into Roths, oh yeah. And watch for your fees, right? Make sure you're not getting killed. I talked about that in my video for today. Got my husband to sit and budget with me and start saving for things we've never saved for. Yeah, nice. Love it. Read a lot of
Wins.
books on your recommendation list, at least 5. Whoa, nicely done. Yowzers. Marissa, are you asking what the book is called, the Aussie book? It's called The Barefoot Investor. His story is awesome. Now, he talks about a lot of things you have to, okay, here's what Rachel and I have learned. You still have to get some interpretation. You may need to use Google Translate when speaking to Aussies and to English, right? You're like, oh, they speak English, we're good. I'm like, what is he talking about? And they use a lot of terms that are those
That
like,
happens though. We have some Aussie friends, and when we're hanging out with them, we'll be like,
so funny.
what are you talking about?
They'll just be rolling along and we're just like blank
What is
stare,
that?
like,
What are
what'd
you-
you just say? I
It's
love
fun.
it. So he talks about your super. After working through it, I figured it's like our 401k. It's like a retirement account and stuff, different banks and things, but it was good. Loved it. Let's see, shut down all the credit cards and made a payoff plan plus emergency savings.
Woohoo.
Oh yeah, love this stuff. Way to go, you guys. Way to go. All right, so before we switch gears to the new month, any questions? Anything you're still like, hey, wait a minute, what about this and what about that? Anything that's still kind of lingering there that we can address before we dive into the next topic?
And we did pick winners from April, and I sent it out in an email and posted it. I don't remember exactly who it was, except Mindy won 3rd place. I remember that.
Yeah, Mindy. Yeah.
But the other ones I don't remember. So check in the Facebook group or one of the emails that says who won.
Nice. That was very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Hey, we got
Sorry.
winners. Check the email.
I know.
I love it. Okay. Anybody else? No questions coming in? We gonna roll with this thing? Oh, we do have an announcement. Some serious excitement, friends. We're gonna be adjusting things a little bit. So the 28-day challenges are gonna continue on.
As is.
Great question. Where are we supposed to post the 28-day logs?
Yeah, I'm going to make that so you can post it on Saturday.
Okay.
And it will be in where all the videos are.
In the membership area.
Say submit. Thanks
Okay.
for reminding
Love
me.
it. Thank you. So the 28-day challenge is going to carry on like 28-day challenge with the videos and meeting live once a month like this, just hitting the topics, going through the whole family life formula. We've decided though, for the extraordinary family life coaching, we're going to kind of separate it and go like real into coaching. So excitement that we're going to add. Go ahead.
Because a lot of people may not know this, but point being, this live group used to be the Extraordinary Family Life Coaching, and the 28-day challenge was all the videos. Now we're putting those together, and that's the 28-day challenge. And then the Extraordinary Family Life Group Coaching is going to become its own separate thing where we actually meet
Weekly.
every week.
And
So-
but for real is coaching, like we'll go through the whole coaching program course as a group and dive in and be like, let's work on this and let's talk about this. And we work through it with individuals. And there's a little bit of a throne of awesomeness
So
that you
it's
get to
kind
sit
of
on.
Just a logistical thing here, but we're just explaining how it's going to be changing in the future. And I will be emailing more information about that.
Love it. Sweet.
Anyways.
Okay, here we go, my friends. Let's dive in. Get excited today. So Rachel and I, hold on, question. She'll send out all the details for it.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
question.
she'll send all the details in the email. Okay, so Rachel and I led a trip over Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, it was Valentine's. We led a couple's trip to Thailand over Valentine's.
Right before
It
COVID.
was awesome. And it wasn't right before COVID, it was totally during COVID.
Well, before
Thailand
it
was empty. We had like beaches to ourselves because
before
nobody
it got
was
like
there.
really serious, right? We could still
Um,
travel.
But as we had a layover in Korea, and I don't know if you guys have seen these before. I had not seen one. Korean Air has a double-decker gigantic airplane. And they literally had 3 walkways loading the plane. One was for their super awesome fancy business class. One was for regular
Normal people.
passengers. And the other one, they called it, I can't even remember what they called it. Like,
it was like
it's
you're extra super duper special.
you're the superest specialist on earth. Like, we just to
So
fly
there was-
business
it was
over
like
the sea
first
was
class and like premium class.
it
Or
was
something
it was
like
way
that.
premium. And that's the upper deck, right?
We didn't even see
Woo!
that.
They don't even let you sniff it or look at it. Like, it's so awesome. Anyways, super awesome, super luxury. My point is that airplane is gigantic. And as we were sitting in the airport looking
In a
out,
normal
the
section.
cockpit is just tiny. It's got this teeny little windows in the front of this gigantic, powerful plane.
double decker.
And I thought, this is so much like the power of the mind. The mind is directing everything, like all this power, all this potential, everything's going on is being directed by our thoughts, right? So powerful. And I want you to keep that imagery, or even if you've seen a gigantic truck, these massive semis or even dump trucks they have in mines, the tires are like 10 feet tall, just the tires. It's just like little driver up there, the steering wheel with all this potential and power. And that's the power of the mind, what we're going to talk about tonight. So first of all, got to bring in the chart.
Like, what's going on?
Boom. So in the extraordinary family life formula, now it's a little too dark back here. In the extraordinary family life formula, we have all the elements, right? We went through the elements. It's you, it's your marriage, it's your parenting, it's your family culture and lifestyle, and it's your family finances. So we just finished family finances. So it's all 5 elements, right?
Which have been the past 5 months.
The past 5 months, and they've been awesome. It's been really great. So now Rachel and I came up with the acronym MEDAL. And these principles in MEDAL apply to every element. So it's your mind, your emotions, trust, actions, and lifestyle. And each of those applies to every part of the elements. So you go through all 5 of them for you, all 5 of them for your marriage, all 5 of them for your parenting, all 5 for family culture, and then all 5 for family finances, right? So now for the next 5 months, this is what we're going to be focusing on, starting with mind. Oh, yeah. Okay, who's excited? I don't see anybody doing jumping jacks or anything else. Look alive, people. You're killing me. Look alive. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
All right, there we go. We heard somebody was excited for this stuff. All right, so, let me ask. I want to get some audience participation here. Why start with the mind? Why does it matter? Why is it that our thinking makes such a significant difference? And you can throw it in the chat box. You can jump on the mic here. Why is it that the mind matters so much?
We are what we think.
Yes, we are what we think. And the greatest thinkers of all time have been saying that for centuries. I love the way Earl Nightingale said it. He says, you become what you think about most of the time. Let that one hit home. Write that down. You become what you think about most of the time.
It also changes how you view the world. Every thought that you think is how you view the world, whether it's a positive thought or a negative thought. The situation can be exactly the same, but depending on the thought you think of that situation will determine your actions and how you move forward in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, spot on, Miriam, which means I wish I had a pair of glasses here. You literally are just putting on a lens through which you're going to see all those situations. So, and the meaning you give to it, right? You're just coloring your own lens. So everything is the way it is because thinking makes it so, right? And we'll dive into that, but you're right. It colors the lens. What else? Let's keep going here. Our thinking determines our actions.
Mm-hmm.
like the airplane analogy, it is because it controls everything else. And man, I believe that wholeheartedly. And when we initially are introduced to this idea of thoughts being so powerful, a lot of us kind of kick back a little bit. We're like, I'm not so sure about that. Like, how can our thinking be that powerful? But the more you understand it, the more you realize this is shaping everything we do in life. As a man thinketh, so is he.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we think in a positive way, we invite good things. If we think in a negative way, we repulse good things. Whoa, Nathan's going next level right
James
there. Woo! And yeah, so some books for this. We're gonna dive in here, have a great time, have a blast. Let me tell my story actually. So when I was in my, actually, I'll go back to the very beginning. So I ended up out on my own at 16.
Well, you were born.
I was born. There I was. No, but I ended up out on my own at 16, and I had grown up in I would say a pretty not really healthy thinking environment, right? So I definitely hadn't been taught about thinking and thought habit and how this applies, right? And my life had been challenging. I had very fixed mindsets. And so at 16, I was just in this grind and life was really, really hard. And so understandably, I was kind of pessimistic and I was blaming my circumstances, blaming other people. And I was like, somebody, some great soul, I don't know who did it or why, somebody gave me a copy of The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So as a 16-year-old, no, actually I was probably 17 at the time, I read The Power of Positive Thinking. And that was like the first introduction that just started to change things for me. And then, of course, The Hiding Place, Man's Search for Meaning. And then it started to happen. And eventually I got my hands on As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Whoa. Yeah, you got it in your hands, Ryan? Yeah, so do I, man. Right here. Right? This life-changing stuff. Yeah, I got the full version. I have the complete works of James Allen right here called Mind is the Master. Look at the size of that baby. Oh yeah, that is something you want to just hold on to and love. Keep on your desk. Whoa, just read it yesterday? Oh yes, welcome, friend, to the new arena, man. So I ended up reading that book many, many times. And then eventually I got thinking, I want to think differently. Yes, Mindy, that is one of my favorites. Yeah, Byways to Blessedness. So good. I want to think differently. And so I would I'm going to think differently. And then I wouldn't. Oh, come on. I'm going to think differently. And then I wouldn't. And so eventually I'm like, you know what? I think better when I'm reading from James Allen and reading about thinking. So I'm going to read it every day. So I started reading a page or two from As a Man Thinketh every single morning for years until his words literally became my thoughts. And when I changed my thinking, it literally changed my life in so many ways. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, friends.
And all this.
Woo! And all this month. So you're going to get some just golden awesomeness put into your brain.
Well, because to connect it to the whole metal thing, we've said before that there's always levels, right? Like everything has another level. And so when you can take thinking and mindset and apply it to everything we already talked about, right? The parenting, marriage, finances, family culture, all of that, like it's just taking you to that next level. It's getting deeper and leveling you up at the same time. So it's, I don't know. That's why we're super excited about this because, we've mentioned mind before. We've mentioned mindset. We've mentioned these things, but there's just so much to it. Like it just goes on, right? You could get so deep on this, and the deeper you get, the more competent you get. In fact, are we going to talk about that? Did you pull up the competency?
Oh,
Better pull that
no, I didn't.
We're going to talk about the 4 competencies, which is super fascinating. But when you dig in deeper to how the mind works, how psychology works, how thinking impacts and affects every aspect of your life, your relationships, your finances, like everything, you just begin to understand like how crazy powerful it is. So anyways, Greg's pulling this up. Are we talking about this right now or later?
Let's talk about it now.
Okay.
Ah, yeah. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to screen share. If you agree to not be judgy about how many tabs I have open. Deal? No judgment, people.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, judger.
I
Come
am
on, you're
judgy.
killing me
It's
here.
ridiculous.
Oh, I got a lot going on, my friends. Now you're all
Yeah.
going to be looking at my tabs instead of looking at a chart.
Yeah, really.
All right, ready? So this is the hierarchy of competence. I love this stuff, and it's so insightful. And I guess this is where it really needs to start, because we have to, every great change, every great advancement, every next layer starts with awareness.
Of our competence or incompetence.
As ever the case may be, which I think is for both of us. So the lowest level is unconscious incompetence, meaning, so you're incompetent, meaning you're not very good at a thing. And let's just say this applies to every area of life. I really think it does.
Yeah. You could apply this pyramid to this could be parenting, this could be communication, this could be your finances. Like you could apply this pyramid to all these different areas.
So in some areas you might be super competent, and in other areas you might be totally incompetent. I think it's safe to say we could all just kind of raise our hand and say, how many of us are incompetent in certain areas of our life? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. How many of us are competent in certain areas of our life? Yeah. You guys are crushing it in some stuff, really succeeding. I hope you celebrate that. I hope you stop to celebrate your successes and your wins. Actually, can I just give out a little love right now? I know that some of you, because I talked to you, I know that some of you, like, you beat yourselves up and you don't celebrate enough, and you think you're not doing a very good job, but you're doing an awesome job. Seriously, like, celebrate a little bit, do a little dance, okay?
Oh yeah.
You moms are just busting it all the time, and dads too, you guys rock. But you moms are just busting all the time. You're just running yourself ragged, and at the end of the day, after having done miraculous things, you're like, oh no, there's still a dish in the sink. I'm a despicable human being. And we're like, you guys rock. You're awesome. So just do a little dance, would you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna add to this too. Like, there's all kinds of different times and seasons and competencies based on sometimes our circumstances. Sometimes
Whether you're pregnant or not.
Yeah. I have been sick for like a month, right? After Greg was sick for like 8 weeks. I swear it was COVID. We got tested.
Those people don't know anything.
They don't know what they're talking about. Anyways, you know what I've been doing is just having a little compassion for myself, because I don't care right now if the house is getting cleaned. I don't care if the kids are doing school, and that's okay. And so sometimes we have to be aware of that. At the same time, I am thinking about, okay, what's the one little teeny next little improvement I could do? How could I be 1% better with our homeschool routine right now? How can I be 1% better? Like when you ask yourself the right questions, instead of like, oh, homeschool's not happening, and this isn't happening, and I just suck because of that. That doesn't get you anywhere, and it doesn't help solve the problems either. So instead, I have compassion for myself, saying this is where I'm at right now, and that's okay. At the same time, asking questions. Well, okay, if I was going to make an improvement, a small improvement, what would that look like? And can I do that little bit of thing, even if I'm sick or I don't feel the best? Yeah, I could do that little thing because it's just a little thing, right? That's just my thoughts for now.
Boom.
That's where
And
I've
she
been.
was just modeling, without knowing it, she was just modeling some great thinking skills right there. Okay, so back into this. So the bottom is unconscious incompetence, meaning you're not very good at your thing, but you don't know it.
You're totally unaware
That is
that you are incompetent.
that is a terrible place to be, to really stink at something and not know you stink. Now, this is all right, how many of you have ever met someone who was totally ignorant or incompetent, but thought they were the cat's meow of awesomeness? Anybody ever met somebody like that? And it's you just have to have compassion on them. But sometimes you're like, did that just happen? Like, like you can tell, like they don't know anything about that, and they're like, I know everything. You're like, what is going
Seriously?
on?
Sometimes that's teenagers.
Yeah, sometimes it comes across, right? Sometimes you'll have a 16-year-old that literally knows everything. There isn't anything you can tell them. But anyway, so there's unconscious incompetence. Then the next level is you get exposed to your incompetence, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Not enjoyable.
It is a great thing.
Very uncomfortable, but you bump into something and you realize,
Oh, I really don't know what I'm talking about.
Yowzers, I'm not good at this, right?
So you become conscious of your incompetence, which is really the first step. You can't become competent at something until you become conscious of being incompetent. If you forever remain in your unconscious incompetence, you're going to forever remain incompetent. So you want to, like, this is almost our life goal now, is for us to search for, where are we incompetent still? Let's look, let's find it. We want to know where we're incompetent.
And then our second life goal is to go around telling good people like you where you're incompetent. Hey friends, check this out. But we're like learning ourselves, you guys. And we want to know. I love that Rachel said that. We genuinely want to know where we're incompetent. Because what it does is it sets you up for success. Okay, let me throw this. How many of you have avoided finding out where you're incompetent? How many of you have just kind of like, you know what, we'll just leave that subject in the other room. We'll not bring that up. And we don't face the music. We know something's off, but we're like, yeah, let's not talk about that because it's a little painful. And so we get on this quest of like, it's not guilt tripping. It's nothing like that. It's like, hey, let's find out where I'm not doing a very good job and then level up.
Which fits in very well with Carol Dweck's mindset book, which you have right
Which
there.
happens to be right
If you
here.
have not read this book yet, after we recommended it, read this book. It is so good.
It's a must read.
Fixed versus growth mindset.
I was going to say it's a must read for every parent. I want to level this up. It is a must read for every person with a brain. That's all, y'all. We got to read this, and we'll talk about mindset in a minute here. We've got to. Are there chats coming in? We're not even seeing all these chats. Let's open this thing up, man.
That's not many tabs.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Currently reading it.
Nice. And yeah, so Laura's saying, yeah, looking forward to some good steps in between the yellow and the green. That's where we're going to really focus, right?
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Man, Ryan, ignorance is only bliss until you realize you're ignorant. And then you're like, dang. The Alice in the book was Mindset. Mindset by Carol Dweck. And Miriam's reading it right on. So good. And Adam's most of the way through. Nice. Yeah. Okay. I just got to throw this out there and as an example. I was recently, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I was recently on a panel for parenting, and this particular person shared this iconic story that they share all the time on this platform as a good example of parenting. And I was like chewing on my lip to not say something, because the example was so,
Conscious incompetence.
it was unconscious incompetence. It was so bad. And she was just throwing this out there, telling everyone, like sharing this example. And I'm like, oh, if your kids make it out of that without being scarred for life. And she was like, wasn't that awesome? And I'm like, oh man. I told Rachel afterwards, without anything, I was like, hey, this is the example. And Rachel's like,
I was like,
what? Like it doesn't even make sense. I won't even go into the details, but like this sweet person with the best of intentions wants to help, but like we've got to come aware. So actually, let me ask you, how can we become conscious?
conscious of our incompetence.
So in the chat box or just jump on the mic, how can you and I start becoming conscious of our incompetence? How can we
Because I
move from the
think-
is that red? Like that reddish
Uh,
color to yellow.
Because I think that I honestly believe that a lot of the problems we're facing in our life, no matter what area of life it is, most often is coming because of our unconscious incompetence, or maybe our conscious incompetence. But that's why we're having those problems. Maybe it's with our relationships, maybe it's with our finances, maybe it's with our kids and our house is out of control, and whatever it is, it's usually because of unconscious and maybe some conscious incompetence. Sometimes we are consciously incompetent. We were like, I really have no clue what to do with my kids, right? That's conscious
I know I'm not
there's
good
a
at it.
problem,
I don't know what to
and I
do.
know I'm not good at it. I don't know what to do. But those two areas right there are the source of most of our problems. So they say, read a book,
Yes.
love and seek after feedback.
Reading all the time is going to expose you to things that you'll
Yeah.
come across something and be like, oh man,
I
I had
had
no
no
idea. That is so cool. So reading across all kinds of genres
Or
just
podcasts and videos nowadays, it's
happens. Let's see. Ask someone you trust who you know is competent
yes.
in that area.
You do not want to ask someone who is unconsciously incompetent for their advice and feedback. Do not do that. Don't.
Oh yeah.
That is
here
a
it
bad
comes.
idea, okay? You want to ask someone who you know is consciously competent or unconsciously competent,
but they're just crazy awesome at their thing. I think that's one of the biggest problems, you guys. We go around getting advice from people who, may not be qualified to do that. So I love it. Trust and be honest. Like I love that, Laura. When you ask for honest answers, be ready for some honest answers. It can be a little bit painful.
Yeah.
It's okay, right? Somebody says, I love you. You really stink at that.
we do that for each other.
Yep. I was thinking about that today. Rachel sometimes will be like, stop doing that thing you do. I'm like, what? But it's so good. Let me throw this out. Can I just be straight with you guys? I love you, right? I love you, right? I'm gonna be straight. Some of you really suck at communication. Some of you really suck at receiving feedback. I'm just throwing this out here. I'm not thinking of anyone. You're like, was he talking to me? I'm thinking of a name that starts with an R and ends with HL. No. But this is just a moment of honesty, which is good for all of us, right? I'm in this boat too. Some of us, how about this one? Some of us really stink at keeping our cool when things don't work out like we hoped. Some of us, the ones who have more testosterone than others, are really impatient with our kids at bedtime. Right? That one comes up a lot in coaching. Like, I really want to be patient right after dinner and right before bedtime. It's just that window. Like, I need patience, right?
I think that can be a mom problem too.
Yeah, well, like all of it. Or mine for the longest time, you guys, was potty breaks while we were on road trips. Okay, 7 kids, road trips, potty breaks.
Well,
Oh no.
when you say road trips, you meant we were like living in our truck and traveling from Alaska to Panama. But yeah, that was a road trip.
But stopping every 5 minutes, I would be like, not again. Just pee your pants.
He would get so
Stop.
mad.
I was really, really terrible at that. And then finally I was like, this is not worth it. I'm going to have a cardiac arrest just because of the potty break. But anyways, like the reality is we got to stop and say, I got to own my incompetencies. You with me?
It's okay to be incompetent.
It's okay. It's all right. Like
It's
it doesn't.
not okay to stay incompetent when you're aware you're incompetent.
Like this does not change your worth or your self-worth or your value as a person. It's okay. It's okay to recognize that you're incompetent at things. Sorry, got to get that out there. Love and seek after feedback. Love it. Raise children. They will manifest your incompetence in an undeniable way repeatedly. They will give you endless opportunities to expose yourself. Oh, so
That's for
true.
sure.
And marriage too, doesn't it? It like you
Mhm.
just you think you got your stuff and your spouse is like, what? I don't think so. Right? It's a great opportunity for that. Read the book lets you see a different perspective. Reading's been a big source for us. Ask
Mhm.
others for feedback. Reading great books opens your mind to recognize unconscious incompetence. We have to change our thinking, like you mentioned earlier. Seek what incompetence we have, being self-aware. Coaching is a great one. Coaching is a great one. Getting a mentor or coach. Constant.
Our daughter, sorry, I just have
Go
to
for it.
because I thought of it. Our daughter's 17. She actually moved out for the summer and went to Virginia to sell pest control. And she just left last week. Well, it's been like a week and a half. And she was doing a coaching call with Greg this morning and was like, it's so handy having a life coach for a dad. She's like, except when I'm living with you.
But man, and I was like, ha 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 ha, life has become really relevant all of a sudden. I'm here for you, girl. So she wants to have regular mentor meetings. Like, boom, yeah. And she's crushing it. She's doing really, really well. So it's fun. Yes, coaching, constant assessment of progress,
Mhm.
measure your results. That's a big one,
Yeah.
Adam. Thank you. Measuring our results. Because how many of you have done something and you're like, dude, I'm knocking out of the park with this. I'm doing really well. And then you start measuring, you're like, well, actually.
Or sometimes the other way around. We feel like we're doing something and nothing's happening. But then if you start measuring, you're like, oh, I am making
I'm
progress.
making progress. Yep.
Yeah.
So true. Gain knowledge from all the best thinkers throughout history, just if you love it. Yes, Miriam, thank you. Need to be okay with who you are, even with your flaws, so you can be honest and accept what you see.
Mhm.
I love it. Lisa, maybe I better have my testosterone checked.
It's a mom thing.
It's a mom thing too.
It's a bedtime
It's a
thing.
parent thing. All right, here we go. So once we get into conscious incompetence, then that's the most powerful position because now we know. So then, like Laura was saying earlier, we need to make the move from yellow to green, where we turn our incompetence into a competence, right? And that, of course, is a mental journey because the only thing standing in between, now I can say this, where you are and where you want to be, or between the yellow and the green, is knowledge and a set of skills.
And
You guys are-
practice.
Well, and which leads to the skills, right? So you're practicing skills. So you've got to gain some knowledge and you've got to practice some skills. And then you can make that transition. Then eventually you practice and practice and practice. You get on the mastery curve. You just keep growing and progressing. And eventually it becomes unconscious competence because you've done it so many times and you're just so familiar with it. You're so used to it. You aren't even really aware of what's happening. Like in this, in the Barefoot Investor, he talks about his buddy, his mate, who's an auto mechanic and has been since he was a young kid. He says a car will pull up to his shop. And the guy will walk in and he's like, hey, man. He's like, hey, mate, you need to get your timing belt fixed and you need an oil change. You need that. And I mean, he can just hear it pull up and know what it needs. He's like, the guy is so familiar with it. It's totally unconscious. He's like, he can hear a car drive past. He's like, man, that thing needs this, this, and this, because he's so competent. And some of you are like that. And
Well-
you just know something so well. It's just right there.
I was just gonna say the analogy I would always think about is driving, right? Because when you start driving, when you learn how to drive, it's a very, well, you're incompetent, and then you become consciously competent of holding onto the wheel and turning on the blinker and looking and then changing lanes and, you know, all those things. They're like these separate steps, right? But then when you become unconsciously competent of driving, you can now do all of that while you're, you know, talking to your kids and looking at the navigation and all these other things. It becomes unconscious. You are competent at it, but you're not thinking about it. And that's kind of the level we're talking about. And
I just had a funny thought. Some people revert back to unconscious incompetence, thinking they can text and drive.
I was just going to talk about how for a lot of years, this was where Greg was with a lot of things. And we kind of talked about it when we went on our couples trip to Thailand. We were talking about, I think it was stress and recovery, or like just being able to recover from, say, negative emotions or getting upset or all these different things. And for Greg, like, he has become unconsciously competent at that. He can get upset or get irritated by something or bothered by something, but his recovery time is so fast, you often don't even know it. And so I think that that's a great example of, with practice and with the right mindset training, right? You can get to this point where it's not that you're not experiencing life and you're not feeling things and you're not, you know, whatever, just being a part of life and having all the experiences of life, but that you learn how to recover quickly and get back into the state you want to be in, the state you have chosen to be in, because that's the state that is going to help you reach the goals you want. State.
She just seriously introduced our first strategy.
Sweet.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, that
glad.
was a great lead in right there.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Ready? Buckle up, friends. How do we make sure we start getting our mind to work for us in our favor? Well, it's what's really determining so much of what we're doing is the state we are in, the mental state. Actually, pause on that. You can write down state, but I want to get a little bit of clarity here before we move on. That I want to do. Will you please at least write down one or two things that you want, you need to work on your competency on? I was gonna say, you want to move from incompetence to competence. Just jot down a couple things. I don't want to move on without we just talk about it generally and then we don't do anything about it. What is one or two specific things that you want to move from incompetence to competence? Say it out loud.
Facebook ads.
Nice.
So awesome.
I love it.
Like, isn't that the best?
I was thinking about marketing as well.
That's generic.
Marketing.
That's non-specific.
I'm going to learn how to crush it. There's some investment vehicles that I filled as we were studying through this. I'm like, oh, I want to become really competent in that. And some additional investment vehicles. Anybody want to share in the chat box, or Mike? Or are Rachel and I the only ones with
Just keep it to yourself.
incompetencies? We're probably the only ones. Okay, organizing, managing time. Yeah. Okay.
You should read Powerful Engagement
Ooh, good.
by Jim Lohr and somebody
Tony
else.
Schwartz.
Tony Schwartz. Because they talk about how really we're managing energy, not time.
So that's a cool mindset shift there. Health and habits. Thanks, Allison. Communication in marriage. Yes. Decluttering the house.
Yes.
Keeping it that way. Learning to invest. Emotional mastery. Love it. Still
I
working on
like
it
that.
as relates to kids.
I like that keeping it that way thing. I started rereading Atomic Habits, right? Because I really like this book a lot. And so I restarted it again. Whoa, there we go. And I love how he says that, it's good to have goals, but goals don't get results. What gets the results are the systems. So you might have a goal to keep your house clean, but if you don't have a system for keeping your house clean, then yeah, it doesn't stay clean. And that's true with everything.
Yep. It'll revert right back. So you might get this moment of like motivation, you hit it, and within a short time, it's right back. So you got to stay that way. Again, thinking. We're going to dive into this. So love these. Scheduling my business better, managing my staff better, fantastic, and training, patience, even better in my job, managing distractions, not defending myself when it seems someone is judging me. Nice way to dial in on that one.
When they're pointing out your incompetence,
yeah.
Now you can say, thank you. Now I'm a conscious
Thank
incompetent.
you for bringing my incompetence to my conscious being, friend. Okay, here we go. Ready? So it's your state. What state are you in? Just think right now. Just do a self-assessment. What state are you in right now? Ryan is about to fall asleep on his hand. He's like, oh, bro, I'm fading. I got to catch myself so I don't hit my head on the desk. Just kidding, man. You're good. No, honestly, what state are you in? What state were you in before we began? What state are you in most of the time? Georgia. That's right. That's the state I'm in. We're in Georgia. All right, let me clarify. What mental, thank you for the clarification there. What mental state, what emotional state are you in? Okay, so like this is for real. This is so critical. When you wake up in the morning, what is your general mental state?
Sleep inertia.
What is that? What did you just say? Was that even English?
Yes, that's a thing. You don't know about this?
Sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia.
Did you just make that up?
No, I did not. Read a book, okay? Sleep inertia. It's what happens. It's that
Ouch.
state of feeling when you wake up where you're like, oh, which is why
That's awake inertia.
Atomic Habits. That's why you have your habits, because when you wake up in the morning, you're not supposed to think because you're in sleep inertia. So you just do your habits without thinking, right? That's my state.
The state you are in, think about this. The state you are in when you engage with someone, does it affect the engagement? Does it affect your communication? The state you're in when you make a decision, does it affect the decision? You with me? The state you're in when your kids first see you in the morning with your hair all over the place and like calling like the state you're in makes a difference, doesn't it?
I've noticed that the state that I greet my children with in the morning, first thing, especially my young ones, totally determines
Their state.
their state for the day.
Yes.
And I can alter their
Yes.
state
Yes.
depending on my state,
Yeah.
for good or bad.
So think how your mental emotional state is on that point influencing the whole house and the family or work. What do you take into the office? You with me? Like this is huge. Your mental state matters so much. I want to read some of these in here. Overwhelmed, defeat, frazzled. My state. Time to schedule another coaching session. Yeah. Affects the state of my husband as he goes off to work. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So your state of mind is this massive influencer. So what can we do? Well, what causes our state and what can we do to alter it? I want to teach you a couple of principles here. I want you to write this down and think about it. What you focus on, you feel. Jot that down. What you focus on, you feel. You can tell I've been working on my writing competence on blue cards for you guys. Oh, yeah. what you focus on, you feel. Let me throw out an example. You guys think of some examples, throw them in the chat box. I'll throw out an example. What you focus on, you feel. So let's take,
When you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm so tired, you feel more tired.
okay, there you go. And you're I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. And how many of you play that record all day long? I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. Really? Nobody? All right, that was a bad example. But like, how many of you, let's do this. Are you more likely to focus on what you have in your life or what is missing in your life? Go ahead and do a self-evaluation. Do you consistently focus more on what you have or what's missing? Just throw that out there. Just think about it, right? Let me read some of these comments here. So first thing in the morning, when kids wake up after my morning routine, that's the best part of my day with them. Then as things progress, it tends to go downhill. 7 kids homeschooled, things get out of control. When I do a lot of coaching, Tracy, that's the same thing I hear a lot of, like, when I hit my morning routine and I hit my priorities, I feel wonderful. It's awesome. And then chaos ensues. And so like midday or often throughout the day, what I'm going to invite you to do here is alter your state. Because if you go from a great state into your chaos state and you stay in your chaos state most of the day, your kids are going to be like, man, mom is awesome the first 5 minutes of the day.
Well, no, that's definitely something that I've learned to do that has seriously helped me to get through the day. And that's to regularly, how do I put this in a word? Restate, that doesn't make any sense. Get in a new state.
Yeah, reset.
Reset, yes, that's I have to regularly reset because yes, it's just inevitable. Okay, having 7 kids or even 1 kid or anywhere in between, they just do stuff. Like that's, like Rich said, like they're designed to mess with you, right? So that's normal. Just expect that that's going to happen, right? And don't be surprised. Oh, look, they did something that irritated me. Like, okay, that's normal. So you have to regularly reset your state multiple times, sometimes throughout the day.
Ooh, and Rachel just gave a little teaser into one of our other S's, is script. What's the script you have? It's normal for kids to make messes, or why do my kids keep making messes? Right? That script plays a part on your state. Okay, let me share some more. I play that I don't want to get up because I don't want to face being locked up still and isn't helping me. Yep. Ooh. Okay. There's too much to do. I can't do it all. There's too much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you keep playing that. There's too much to do. There's too much to do. Too much to do. You're going to constantly feel overwhelmed.
You just have to ask, what's the next one thing I can do?
And now you're giving strategies. Rachel's leaking out all our goodness all right now. Love it.
I'll forget later.
Focus on not having enough time. I never have enough time, right? How many we play that? I never have enough time. I'm always trying to catch up. I'm always behind.
Speaking of, again, I am in a state of sleep inertia when I get up in the morning. And usually I have some stupid song playing through my head, which drives me crazy. So immediately what I start doing is repeating my affirmations, right? Or declarations. Because it's something that's, like, I don't have to think. I just repeat them. And I do my, my little habits, my little morning routine. And I just repeat these things. And one of the things I say, because I've felt that, I don't have enough time to do everything I have to do. I just tell myself all the time, I have more than enough time and money to do everything I want and need to do. And I just repeat that to myself all day long till I believe that now. Like, I honestly do. But
and she's modeling perfectly what you focus on, you feel.
Yeah.
If you feel like you don't have enough time and money, what feeling is that? It's
stress.
You can feel it.
Yeah,
it's stress. It's tenseness. It's frustration. When you really focus on, I have enough time and money, what do you feel?
You just feel good.
Yeah, it feels good. What you focus on, you feel.
And it clears your mind, because this overwhelm, I've got too much to do. Like it almost like makes your mind foggy, right? So you can't think as clearly. But as soon as you tell yourself something like that, and when I first started telling myself that, like, I didn't believe it. I'm like, no, I don't. But you start to feel it and you start to believe it and you start to see how it's true, and then you start to make it true. But it clears your mind. It clears your thinking. So then you're like, okay, what is the next most important thing that I have to do? And I do that. That's all you have to do. Like, really, that's the secret to success, is figuring out what's your next most important action and doing that action. And if necessary, because I homeschool and I am the chief marketing officer for our business and I am a person, right? I will separate my day into slots. And so I do personal stuff in the morning, I do family homeschool stuff in the mid-morning, and I do work in the afternoon. So when I go to that time,
You guys notice I was not anywhere in that schedule?
That was an
Just kidding.
unconscious incompetence right there. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I made time for
You
you.
forgot to put in your role that you're my sweet babe.
Right.
All right.
I'm not going to talk about that time right now, though.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, I wasn't
Okay,
done,
finish,
though.
sorry.
I'm just quickly trying to say what I do is when I am in my personal time, I'm like, okay, what's the next most important thing to do? When I go to the family time, what's the next most important thing I need to do? When I go to work time, what's the next most important thing I need to do? So whatever times, and then, because otherwise I used to just get everything mixed up. Like, oh, I really have to work on the business, even though all the kids are right here and we're supposed to be doing this, but I'm thinking about this. Oh, I really need to be homeschooling the kids when we're actually supposed to be working right now. So by separating that, I can focus on what's the next most important thing for this time right now. And when the kids interrupt, I say, sorry, right now is my work time. Go figure that out. But when I'm doing homeschool, I'm not thinking about the business. I'm doing homeschool. I'm doing family stuff. Anyway.
So getting in those states, like she's saying, well, actually that determines her state by being ordered. She feels ordered. She feels progressive instead of feeling chaotic all the time. So get kind of ordered on what you want to work on. Set up some declarations or affirmations. We're constantly saying things to ourselves. So if you're saying something negative all the time and it's influencing your state, replace it with something positive. I hope you all have declarations or affirmations you're saying. Like, we've got to be saying positive things to get in the right state. And then here's the biggest one. I want you to do this, please. In order to move your mind, you have to move your body.
In order to change your mind, you need to move your body.
So this is what it looks like.
If you feel like crap, you get up.
We literally get up and we'll like dance around. Okay. We'll turn on some music.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, you do some arm swings. We'll do jumping jacks with a high list. We will do yoga. We'll do all kinds of awesome stuff. And you literally, I noticed that not one of you even wiggled.
Yeah.
So we're feeling energized, and you're just sitting there.
I feel kind of hot, actually.
Yeah, now we're sweating. But no, like I'm sincere about this. I want you to move your body. Those of you sit a lot or at office or whatever, or I mean, if you're moving around with the kids, that's good. I want you to intentionally move your body every 45 to 60 minutes. Like move, stand up, shake, move, stretch,
jump,
bounce around, jump, like put on some music, move your body. If you will shift your mind, if you ever feel yourself going into a negative state, come up with a way to snap out of it, get right back into a positive state. Because your state is determining your life. We good? Ah, yeah. And stop watching the news. That was a bonus material. Because what you focus on, you feel. What you focus on, you feel. You focus on negativity and scary stuff, you're going to be terrified all the time. And you won't want to like talk to people. Ready? Next.
Are you going to read these?
Yeah, I read through them. They're super good. Thanks for all your comments. Keep going. Okay, next. Ready, friends? The second S is script. It's your script. And we hinted at this earlier. So state is the first one that's affecting it. The second one is your scripts. Your scripts are the little things that have been handed to you, or you've kind of created these little one-liners that determine your way of thinking and your belief patterns. And so you'll say these little things to yourself, and it's your script, and like it messes with your head. It really, really messes with your head. And you get in this space of limitation, right? I think scripts put boxes
Well, it
on
is
our
pretty
clear
much a
thinking.
fixed mindset.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
So yeah, Carol Dweck mindset, the fixed mindset. She talks about having a growth mindset of like, oh yeah, I can work on that and improve it. I'm not very good at it, but I can get better. Versus a fixed mindset of like, this is the way things are. This is the way I am.
This is how I am. Yeah.
That right there, this is, and it maybe it came from somebody else who always said, oh, you just can't do that. You're terrible at that. You're never good enough. You're not smart enough. You're not whatever. You're too old.
just
You're
this
too young.
way.
You're just this way. And if that was a script we took on from somebody else, it becomes our identity and done. We keep playing that script and we're stuck. And if you ever catch yourself saying, I can't change that, it's too hard. I've tried, it won't work. That's a script that you're playing, right? Some people with like COVID, for example, some people are playing this script that like if they get COVID, they think it's a death sentence, right? They have the script in their fear of like, if I get this, it's game over. There was a really funny meme. I think we shared it. It was a funny meme. Like came back and they're like, "Oh, good. The doctor said you don't have COVID. You only have cancer." And they're like, "Yay!" Because it's like you get this script of like, this is the way things are. So, yes, thank you, Miriam. My dad took on a script that he couldn't sing because of a teacher in the 2nd grade. He has overcome it thanks to my mom. Fantastic. Yes. You'll hear things like that all the time. You're like, oh, I'll never be able to do that. I can't do that. This is just the way we are. Oh, we'll never get out of this. We can't change. We're stuck. And we get trapped in all these scripts. So let's share some more examples.
I think in some ways, though, they have shared examples because a lot of these things you guys were writing out, you know, of like, oh, I don't have enough time. I'm overwhelmed. There's too much. A lot of that, yeah, a lot of those are scripts that we are telling ourselves, whether just when we wake up in the morning or when stuff is happening all, you know, with the family. Whatever we're automatically telling ourselves is a script. It's not the truth. Do you get that? It's not the truth. It's just a script you're telling yourself.
It is literally an optional thought.
It's optional. You don't have to believe that. And it's not necessarily true. Think of any of you that have more than one kid. Do you remember when you had your first kid and like how overwhelming it was to have one kid, right? And then you had 2 kids and 3 kids and 4, and you're like, one kid is easy, right?
Now later on, once you have 7,
Right.
You're like, 1? I can do that blindfolded and asleep.
You become more competent. But guess what? Your script hasn't changed. So you keep telling yourself the same script, even though you are becoming more competent. If you can take care of 4 kids, that's because you're more competent than when you could take care of 1, right? Or 9 kids, like Lisa. You have the power to become more competent. You don't have to be overwhelmed by your current life situation. You can choose to change that. Now, you were forced to change it before because you had more kids and you had to become more competent, or else you would all died or something horrible, right? It was a forced competency training. But you can choose to become more competent now just because you want to. Because you want to be less stressed, because you want to not be overwhelmed, because you want to have a little more peace and sanity. All the things you're saying about your daily life aren't true. They're just the script you're telling yourself. And if you start asking the right questions and you start asking different questions and you start looking for solutions instead of just looking at the problem, then you actually find the solutions. That's the difference. That's the shift you have to make in your mind. Is look for the solutions. Look for how can I not be overwhelmed? What could I do to feel in control, right? Because overwhelm is in a way a lack of control or feeling control. When you look for that, then you will find it. But as long as you keep telling yourself the scripts that you keep telling yourself, you'll keep feeling the way you're feeling. That's all.
That is all.
I have spoken.
I have spoken. I love it. Yeah, they're feelings, not facts. I love that, Kathy. So true.
Yes.
When you get the
Absolutely.
knowledge of the fix versus the growth mindset, I find myself noticing it all the
Yes.
time now. Yes, Adam, so true. Tell my family and those around me, you can do it. So powerful. My kids walk around, tell everybody, mindset.
They tell their friends.
Somebody will walk in our house and be like, oh, this can't. And they're like, mindset, dude.
That's a fixed mindset.
A fixed mindset. And they just call everybody out. It's so fun. I want to give a big warning about scripts. You ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Many of you are operating with very old scripts. You're running old software that was written years ago, for some of you decades ago, and you're still operating on that script.
You haven't done any updates.
You've not done your software updates, friends. And you know what I'm saying? Somebody said something to you when
like
you were young.
Miriam's dad.
Yep, like
In
Miriam's
the
dad.
second grade. Oh, you can't sing.
So boom. Went away.
That was installed and he didn't update it until, much later.
Or how many of you have this? How many of you grew up with kind of a poverty mindset, believing that you were going to be poor? Oh man.
Or that being rich was bad.
Yeah, being rich is
or
bad
that-
and being poor is like somehow like righteous or something. I kept telling myself that, oh, this is the better path. My poverty is leading to my holiness. But in my teenage and 20s, I literally had a poverty mentality. The script was, I'm always going to be poor.
Because rich people are born rich and poor people are born poor.
Or they're lucky.
It.
Right?
Yeah,
That's a
they're lucky.
script. Gosh, those guys are so lucky. That was the script I was playing myself. And when I believe people who put in effort to get results are lucky and it's not anything having to do with effort, I just tank myself. So what are, yeah, exactly, Tracy. Yes. The Philosophy Journal. This is where we rewrite all of our scripts. I got mine right here. If you do not know about that yet, I know some of you are new. Go listen to, I think it's episode 57 and 58 of the Extraordinary Family Life podcast. Learn about my Philosophy Journal. This is the way to rewrite all of your scripts. Okay? So powerful. But let's share some examples. What are some examples of old scripts that you have or have had? I want to kind of make this really concrete for us. What are some of the scripts that you've been playing for years? Some of you will think you can't earn money. Some of you are saying, you constantly saying to yourself, I'm too old to start now. Kids are hard. Money is hard to get. Okay. I will always struggle with my weight. Right? It's a script. And it's an old script. I'm smart, but I under-apply myself. Right? Wiring that in there. My brain is broken when it comes to food. No matter how hard I try, I can't change. That's one I hear often. No matter how hard I try, I can't change. That's an old script. It's soul programming. I'm bad with remembering names. That one, that one gets me, man. That is like the iconic fixed mindset one that I did for years. Oh, I'm bad at remembering names. I tell people I'm bad at remembering names. Like, yep, you sure are. You keep telling yourself that. I always quit. Right? Thank you guys for sharing. These are excellent examples.
Mhm.
We have these old scripts, this old programming that's limiting us. We literally are putting ceilings and limitations on our own progress. We are doing it. We are our own worst enemy.
And someone asked before about some of my affirmations. Honestly, I think the best way to come up with affirmations is to take some of these scripts and reverse them. So whenever you notice something like, I always quit, turn it around into something positive and make that into your affirmation, especially if it's something you find yourself regularly repeating to yourself. Instead of I always quit, say,
I finish everything that's important.
Yeah, I finish everything that's important. It doesn't mean you have to never quit anything. Sometimes quitting is a good thing because you recognize it's just not what you need to do. It's just not your path. But when it is important, then become a finisher. And the more you tell yourself that, sorry, the more you believe it.
COVID cough. So yes, and that was going to be what I was going to say. Some of you have been saying this thing to yourself for years. You just have to get your new statement and say it to yourself thousands of times. Ramp it, smash it into a small space, and just say it till you believe it. And
or
again,
every
what
time
you
you
focus
find
on, you
yourself
feel.
saying the old one, just replace it. Be like, nope,
That's
I'm
the
a
old.
finisher.
That's the old stuff. Okay, the next S is story. It's very similar to script. So you have the state, right? Your mental state, your mental script, and your mental story. We all have stories that we tell ourselves. Every one of us is constantly telling ourselves stories. Stories of why we do things, which can be good. Stories of why we don't do things. And these can be negative or positive, but we all have stories attached. And you guys, you know what I'm talking about? Like you go up to something and a challenge comes up and you have this story about challenges. And somebody tries to give you some feedback and you have a story about feedback. And so now you start attaching meaning to things. And so instead of seeing it, so let me ask, if somebody gives you some feedback, are they threatening you? Are they disrespecting you? Are they coaching you? Are they loving you? You get to decide what that is. You get to attach meaning to it. But we often have some kind of story playing.
That when someone does this, this is what it means.
Means this. So,
which again is not necessarily true. That might be totally false. But the meaning, sorry, I just jumped right in here. The meaning you give to that, the story you tell yourself about what that means is determining what it means to you.
So when your spouse is giving you feedback, honest, straight feedback about your incompetence, that's not disrespectful. Unless I'm like, woman, you're terrible at making Mexican macaroni and cheese.
That's right.
That's the only bad meal Rachel's ever prepared. And I
He
still have bad taste in my mouth. That was when we were first married. I wanted to die. And she's like, I don't think it's that bad. And I was like, I've eaten out of the streets and it was better than this. I've had roadkill. It was so bad, but now she's a phenomenal cook. Cold zucchini soup.
Yeah,
oh, that's gotta be bad. You're right, Allison. That one's bad. I had that example. Thanks, Baleen. I had that opportunity as an example to my kids today. The fuel truck showed up and I immediately hung my shoulders and started complaining about money. Right away, I changed to we always have enough money. Yes. Bam.
Woo-hoo.
Perfect. You catch yourself with the old programming and go, oh, no, we're good. We got all the money we need. Let's roll. Now, what happens is you start changing your state, you start changing your script, you start changing your story, and it starts to change your feelings and your actions. Now, if I just sit here and say things to myself like, I exercise every day, and I don't actually exercise, that's the beginning of delusion. So I'm saying those things to drive action, right? I'm not sitting on a couch, pounding soda and eating donuts and be like, I am healthy and fit. I'm healthy and fit. It will not cut it. You gotta follow it with action, right? But story. Can you think of, and I don't know if we can share examples or not, but can you think of some of the stories you tell yourself? If we were in a coaching session, I would ask for specific examples and we'd give like specific action steps, and you'd realize, oh man, that story comes up all the time. So whenever I'm doing coaching, those stories come up all the time. Like, hey, how you doing with this? Well, it's just that. I'm like, whoa, there's a story. There's a story. So what stories do you have for health and fitness, for your emotional reactions? Some of your stories might be, well, no, I explode. I lose my temper because of my kids. Really? Is it your kids, or is that the story you're telling yourself? The kids might be a catalyst, but nobody can force you to feel anything. Right? And you might be, I can think of all kinds of stories now. I was the most patient guy until I had children. It's you guys ruined my life. Like I would have more in my savings account if my children didn't eat so much. That's a true story. You with me? Like, what are your stories?
Oh, this
Ooh,
is good.
good.
So start with Laura.
When my husband says, I don't know, all I hear is, I don't care. Wow. Okay. And you stop is like, is that a story I'm telling myself? So good. I don't exercise because I don't like changing clothes or sweating. Somebody I know used to use that story.
all
the time.
time.
Oh man, that was her story. That's not a good story.
How did it change it?
So Ryan says, so wait, is the story just an elaborate script? Yeah, there's some overlap,
Well,
but it's usually,
I would say the script is kind of things that you tell yourself. Like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't have enough time. The story is more the meaning you give to what other people say and do.
yeah, or even to your own actions. You have this
Yeah, it can be to
justification,
your
this
own actions too,
rationalization. It's a story about why you do it. So it's kind of the explain. Yeah, I like that. So there's a little bit of overlap, but I think you guys are getting it. Right?
I already got dressed today. Yeah, same thing. So part of how I changed that is I would change into my workout clothes first thing and then exercise before. And then, of course, I did the 2-minute rule. That's how I got myself to exercise. I've talked about the 2-minute rule a lot. I just committed to exercising 2 minutes at least. And if I didn't sweat, great.
Story, fixed
Right.
mindset.
I don't mind sweating as much now, especially because I got a good deodorant.
It's all about the deodorant,
It's all
people.
about deodorant, I
If you don't have a
guess.
good deodorant, that's your bad story. It is terrible.
But once I got over that hump, then it became automatic, and then it's not. You change the story. And I also created an affirmation that says I love to exercise.
Yes. So she's changed the script. She changed the story, and guess what?
Change the habits, right? Atomic Habits. Oh, wrong book.
Which is
Atomic
the
Habits.
last S. The last S is strategy.
Yeah.
So she did all those things, and guess what? She got different results.
Right.
Yeah, Baleen, the 7-minute app is awesome, huh? I love that thing. Fantastic. Okay. Sweating is healthy. There's
Yes.
that's a great script, right?
Sweating is healthy.
I love to sweat. As far as story goes, I want you to rewrite some of your stories. Like intentionally, pen to paper, rewrite some of your stories. What do you want it to be? Just rewrite it as what you want it to be. Take whatever area of your life you want improvements in and rewrite the story. See yourself in that postcard, so to speak, or in that future snapshot, and write the story out. Do it and reread it. I have mine in my inside of my philosophy journal, and I reread it almost every morning, And part of my story, I literally rewrite every morning when I rewrite my major goals. I keep them right here in my drawer.
And that
I go over them.
this can be used for the negative things, right, that you're noticing about, I don't know, how you're interacting with people or exercising or all these different things. You can rewrite that story, which is, again, closely connected with affirmations. It's kind of an elaborated affirmation in a way. But you can also, this is also an amazing technique to use that's an expansion of sorts of a vision board.
Yep.
So you've got your vision board, right, with pictures of things you want to be, do, have, accomplish in your life. The story allows you to elaborate on that so that you picture yourself in that life that you want to create. What it looks like, what it feels like, where you're at, who you're with, what you're doing, the kind of income you have, the kind of experiences you have. That's another topic.
I love this stuff. You guys excited? You still with me?
I think we should
Woo!
maybe mention a little bit about how when you rewrite a story, you write a story, it has to be about you. It may involve or affect other people, but you can't write a story that changes someone else's behavior.
Yes.
Just want to clarify on that.
Oh, thank you. Because I actually have this in my notes. Oh, go ahead.
Expectation without agreement. So if you expect your spouse or somebody to do something or to change, but they don't agree to that, or you haven't discussed that with them, expectation without agreement is a form of manipulation. You can't expect someone else to change.
If they don't agree,
You can
they're
only
not in.
change yourself.
And so the story we often tell ourselves, you guys, is, oh, well, I did
If
that,
my spouse would
but
change, then I would be happier. That's a bad story.
you might say, well, I tried to apologize, but my spouse XYZ, right? Or, well, I tried being patient, my kids didn't listen, right? So it's a story.
You have to find a way to make that a story that can be true for you no matter what.
And so the focus on the story is, how are you going to show up? Ask yourself that. How are you going to show up? Don't put it on other people. Don't put it on their reaction. Don't come up with expectations that will actually make you miserable. More rules for other people. Just, what's your story? How are you going to show up?
I remember back in the day, I used to get upset, and I used to tell myself this story that no one cares about cleaning up. No one else in the house cares about cleaning up except for me. I'm the only one who cares. I'm the only one who does anything, right? I used to tell myself that story. And I used to get mad about if there was whatever, a mess or this or that. Why don't my kids clean up? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? And when it finally changed for me, which again, this is tough, but it's the truth. It's becoming conscious of your incompetence. I realized it was me. I had to change. If my kids, if my family, if my husband, whatever, aren't doing certain things, that's because I haven't trained them to do them. Especially with your kids. I mean, spouse is a little harder.
That was feeling a little awkward over here for me. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. You just take ownership of something.
Yeah, you have to take ownership. And as far as training your spouse, it's basically being able to communicate with them expectations or desires or feelings or boundaries or all of those things, right? That's a part of training your spouse, for lack of a better word. But especially with kids, like, how can I expect my kids to do all these things that I think should be done, right, around the house, and pay attention to all the things I pay attention to, and to just take initiative on all of that, unless I train them, which means I have to become more consciously competent at how to pass on those things to my kids, how to train them how to do, and how to motivate them to do those things, and how to inspire them to do those things. And now, like, honestly, I don't get upset about those things. I just think, oh, well, okay, we need a little more training on this area. How could I teach them how to take initiative on picking up the towel on the floor or whatever, right? That's how my thinking has switched, because I took the ownership on myself. So when you're thinking about writing a story or changing your scripts, it has to be with 100% ownership.
How am I going to show
How
up?
can I change this? How can I do this? How can I show up? Yeah.
Love it. That was good. Boom.
Even though I talk about
Oh.
training you.
That was so good. That part about training me.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
Oh gosh.
Okay. So the last test is strategy. We just have to be more strategic about what's going on in our heads. My friends, would you open your front door and allow like terrible, would you allow a terrible person through your front door?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Some of you like, yeah, probably. No, no, I'm just trying to come up with a comparison here, because like our mind is the control center for everything. And what we allow to come in,
Would you allow a terrorist to come in?
would you allow a terrorist to come in your house, right?
Or to come into the cockpit of your plane?
Yes, would you allow a terrorist in the cockpit of your plane, right? All those thoughts. We wouldn't do it. And yet how often we don't have any guard at the door of our mind. We're letting anything and anyone in.
And
People come in
sometimes-
there and wreak havoc and you're like, whoa, what happened?
Sometimes we don't even have any sort of filtering system. It's almost like whatever comes into our mind, we just accept as truth.
Or whatever we happen to say. Please don't believe everything you say or think,
Or feel.
right? Please do not believe everything you think. Yeah, or feel. It's just a feeling. It's not a fact. So my invitation here for strategy is, do you have a filter for your mind?
Do you have an
Do you have
evaluation system?
An evaluation system? Do you have an auditor? Do you have a guard? We should have a guard at the door of our minds. And we should be very strategic. I mean, let's switch to a garden metaphor. We should be very strategic about pulling weeds and keeping new weeds from coming in. We got to be way more cognizant of this. And so as we're going through this month, you guys, the 20-day challenge, actually we have a week off. We have a week off before this one starts. So you can kind of get a jump on it, or you guys can catch up. I know some of you are behind on the videos, so you can catch up on those. But when you start, I want you to really start thinking about it. And you can start thinking about this and practicing this today. I want you to be really cognizant of all you're doing. So every morning, I want you to read something about your thoughts, either from Mindset or As a Man Thinketh or The Majesty of Calmness. Oh, Science of Being Great, right? Majesty of Calmness is another one up there that blow your mind awesome. But read something every day about your thinking. Say or write an affirmation or a goal, and think about or rewrite or reread your stories. Let's and I want to make kind of a promise here. If you'll really zero in on your mindset and your awareness of what's going on, how your thinking is affecting your feeling and your feelings affecting your actions, if you'll zero in on that, like, you can totally alter the way you do life. Literally change your thinking and you will change your life. It's that dramatic. Well, I've experienced it. Rachel's experienced it. We've helped thousands of people around the world have these massive transformations in their mindset. In fact, I love this. I tell Rachel all the time.
He's a new.
I love it. Like, you guys,
is it an affirmation or
it's in my philosophy journal. I every day I help people think differently, right? I love blowing people's minds. This is what I do for work. I got to blow people's minds. And I had 3 coaching sessions today, and they were all like, whoa, like that just totally changes the way I'm thinking about life. Like, I love doing that. Because okay, who was it that said, I think it was Emerson, maybe, don't hold me to that one. Somebody, one of the great writers, thinkers said, a mind once expanded
I think it was
can,
Oliver Wendell Holmes.
all right, I was way off. A mind once expanded can never return to its former dimensions. Isn't that a beautiful idea? So we keep expanding our minds with goodness. We keep filtering and protecting and guarding and monitoring and shifting where we're changing the scripts. We're getting into a good state, right? So every single day, get into a good headspace. Get in the right state. And if you find you're off, get back in it. You're in control of this. You're the controller.
Honestly, that's probably one of the most important things you could do every day, is learning how to manage and control your state, because your state is determining everything you do. When you're in a crappy state, what do you want to do? Nothing but like watch Netflix. When you're in a positive state, that's when and how you get stuff done. It's the only way. And I've noticed that, especially this last month when I've been sick with COVID or not COVID or whatever it is. When you don't feel well, when you're not in a good state, which I'm not saying, sometimes, yeah, you just don't feel well, and that's fine, right? Deal with healing. When you're not in a good state, you're not motivated and you don't get things done. And for some people, they're like, well, that's fine. I'm fine living life that way. That's not you guys, okay? That's not us.
We totally just gave you a good
done.
script.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to work on achieving your goals. And the only way to maintain that motivation and drive to get stuff done, to work on your goals, is to maintain a positive mental state. That's that.
Boom. I love it. So get in a great state. Change out your scripts, improve your story, and put in some strategies. Get real strategies in place I'm talking about, I want a literal transformation of your mindset. You got to move your mind, move your body, move your mind, move it, and watch what happens in your life. It'll just start going. Oh, Nathan's
right.
got it.
You were right.
The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. Fantastic. That is awesome.
We forgot to do the quote by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, so our kids take these master classes.
Well, you guys maybe have seen the master classes, masterclass.com, and it's all these authors and all kinds of famous people, and they teach classes, right?
And this brilliant scientist they
Neil
were taking a
deGrasse
class.
Tyson,
They're taking a bunch of
some
classes
big
from it. It's really awesome.
astrophysicist.
And we're having this morning devotional talking about something, and our son's like, oh yeah, when the area of your knowledge increases, so too does the circumference,
Perimeter.
the perimeter of your ignorance.
Which ties in with the hierarchy of competence, right? Which is fascinating. When you become more competent in certain things and start to become competent in multiple things, that's when you really begin to realize that, wow, I'm actually incompetent in so many things, right? When the area of your knowledge increases, right, so does the perimeter of your ignorance. The perimeter keeps getting bigger and bigger because your mind is expanded by new ideas, and it continues to grow your knowledge, but so does the perimeter of your ignorance.
Meaning the
Because
more you learn,
know,
the more you realize how little you know.
Is that Socrates?
Yeah, so powerful. Oh, you guys, this is so good. Who's excited for a brain operation transformations? Woo! We're going in for brain surgery this coming month. We're going to change the way you think about life. And I'll just throw this out there as a forewarning. the people you know and love and associate with are going to question your sanity. It's all right. It's all right. Bring it. Oh, Elisa, yeah, you just got the masterclass? Yes.
So, and then Laura, it's just masterclass.com.
I love the one on entrepreneurship by
Sarah
Blakely. She's a billionaire.
And then my kids really loved, there's one called The Art of Negotiation. They love that one. And they love Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's all about how to think.
And we're doing the violin one by Itzhak Perlman. That's super awesome. Okay. Yeah, Ryan, you're already getting it, huh? It's coming, friends. It's coming. You start altering your channel, and you start talking about big things, and people are like, "What happened to you, man? What's going on? Why are you being so crazy?"
Well, one of your coaching clients was talking about it today.
Oh yeah, it just happens when you start having meaningful conversations, you guys. It starts
thinking differently.
It starts ruffling feathers, man, and just take on that identity. Like, I'm a ruffler. That's your new script. I'm a ruffler. I love it. Okay, any other questions, insights, ahas? Thanks, you guys, for your great comments and for being here, staying up late past your bedtimes. I know all you guys go to bed early, and none of you staying up late. That would be a horrible habit.
Excuse me. My goodness.
Cool. Yep. So we'll send that all out. We'll send out. It's the middle of dinner.
Oh,
Bon appetit. Yeah, love it. Okay,
yeah,
anything else about
mindset? Email about that because we're still working out the details. Honestly, we just came up with the idea, and then I got COVID pretty much, and then
with negative results.
With negative test results, but still, that's my story. And I
got to watch her stick one of those swabs up her nose. It was awesome. Oh, she's got an herb. Wait, you have an herb for negative COVID? That's legit, Miriam. Oh, yes. That's what we've all been looking for.
Yeah, I heard 30 to 50% chance false negative.
Oh, man.
All we know is this is something we've never had before in our lives. So that's all we know. And we've been in like 35 countries, right? We've had a lot of diseases.
And that's our story. We're sticking to it.
Right.
We've had a lot of diseases.
This is a new one.
Because that's what happens when you travel. You get diseases. Oh, it's hilarious. Oh, your daughter got it? Is it horrid? It is bad. Well, it's only 7:30 up in Canada. Ah, lucky. You get to go to bed really early, guys. Love that. Or there's other things married people that you can do. Anti-vow stuff. Okay, you guys go smooch on your spouses. Love on your kids. Talk to yourself because you know you already do. Talk to yourself, but do good talk. Good talk.
Positive endophagia.
Positive endophagia. Self-talk, right? Love this. Okay. You guys are the best. We genuinely love you. We're excited for the awesome things you're doing, raising great kids and doing good stuff. Watch out for some videos that are coming your way. This one's going to be fun. We're going to dive in and alter our minds. It literally, I mean, all sincerity, this changed everything in my life.
Well, and in our life too, since we got together.
Yeah. My thinking even got better when Rachel started telling me new scripts. Started training me. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Love you guys. Have a fantastic evening. And as always, reach upward.